Guess who's back? Back again. I know, the guy who never posts a video posts two back to back. That's crazy. Anyways, it's just been busy summer and my life is busy. But this video, something that's been in the works for a while. I mean, I showed my folding knife collection, my traditional knife collection, my fixed blade collection. But I had been planning to show my multi-tools and I just never got around to it. Honestly, knife content is kind of boring. I watch a lot of knife videos and my kids and my wife are like, oh, that's boring. Why do you watch that stuff? To me, it's interesting. I mean, it's basically show and tell of my knives. I like showing them off. I mean, why else would you collect something if you're not gonna make use of it or show it off? But anyways, I wanted to show my multi-tools, show which ones I like based on use, and why in the world would somebody need so many multi-tools. Hopefully this video, it will probably be a little long, but hopefully it won't be too boring. I know it can be boring. I don't even like watching the videos when I'm editing and reviewing them. But anyways, if you hang in there, I'll do a joke at the end. So let's get started. So to me, what is a multi-tool? And you might classify that different ways, but for me, for the purpose of this video, it's something with at least 3 implements. I've got knives that have a cap lifter or a secondary blade or something like that, but that's not really a multi-tool. To me, it would be something with 3, completely different functions. Might be a screwdriver, might be an extra tool, an awl, a file, a reamer, scissors, something different besides just another blade. And why do you even need a multi-tool? For me, I think the purpose of a multi-tool is a time saver, right? You can carry a bunch of tools in a relatively small package, so it's handy, it's available. You don't have to go and drag out the big toolkit. You don't have to, search through your toolbox or your tool bag to find the tool you're looking for. You've got something in your pocket or on your belt that you can use as a time saver. Now, if you're doing a big job, you're probably going to go grab the tools and get them out anyways. But sometimes when you're crawled up under something or when you're in the middle of a project, it's nice to have an extra tool in your pocket that you can get to easily. So ease of use really translates to me, functionality, ease of use, why I would carry something more than something else. And maybe just preference. How many multi-tools do you need? I have way too many. The average person is not going to need that many. The average person could get away with, one small multi-tool in their pocket, probably. A small Swiss Army knife, and they would be happy for the rest of their life. Depending on your hobbies and on what you do for work, you may want a larger multi-tool. But anyways, let's just talk about some of these multi-tools. I'll probably show them first by category. We'll talk about large multi-tools first, then medium-sized, then small. That's kind of how I classify them up, based on how many functions. Leatherman obviously is the king of multi-tools. I mean, some other brands, Gerber, SOG, Victorinox, they have some standout models. But really consistency, quality, warranty, just construction. Leatherman, it's hard to beat a Leatherman, especially in the large plier-based multi-tools. Now you get down into some of the smaller pocket multi-tools and you've got some more stiff competition, I would say, from Victorinox especially, and some other budget options. Obviously there's new competitors in there, and there's budget brands as well. Swiss Tech, Roxxon, a bunch of upcoming new next tool. Trying to think of who some of the other budget brands are. There's a bunch of Chinese brands, putting out multi-tools that are competitively priced and a lot of times inspired or cloned from very good multi-tools. So it's hard to know which one I want to show first, but we'll just start out, construction genre multi-tools. Everyone's familiar with this one. This is the Milwaukee Fastback. It's a razor blade. It's got a wire stripper. If you close the blade, you've also got a cap lifter there, the ubiquitous cap lifter. This one has a locking bit driver with a flathead and a Phillips. Everyone's familiar with it. I won't go through all the tool set on all of these, but just to show that this one is a multi-tool. They have ones that just have a knife blade that are not multi-tools. What would be the purpose of this one? I would say this is it's a large multi-tool as far as capability. You have a pretty good size screwdriver that takes, regular, 1/4-inch bits. And then you've got a full-size razor blade there. So this is a good multi-tool for a job site, for a construction worker, for somebody who doesn't need a pair of pliers. I know people will combine this with the Knipex. I have a set of Knipex pliers and some also a small Milwaukee plier that I sometimes carry with this. For me, it's just too much to carry two tools. I want something that I can just carry and have my pliers and my knife. So I do like this. It's a very good budget option. You can switch out the blades. You don't have to worry about sharpening them. So I think that's a competitive option for somebody who needs something on a job site or working. I'll show one that probably most of you haven't seen. This is something that was given to me as a gift. And to be honest, I haven't used it this much. I put it in the large multi-tool category just because of its width and the number of tools it has. See, it's big and it's equivalent to any of the large Swiss Army knives. It's twice as big as what I would consider a medium-sized Swiss Army knife. So that's why I put it in the large category. And this was made by Ozark Trail, the famous Walmart brand, known for their budget offerings. This one was interesting to me. I don't know if it was a limited time just for Christmas, but it's obviously patterned after the large Swiss Army knives. But to me, this was really built by someone who not just was copying Swiss Army knives, but knew what people were looking for and what the standout features of a Swiss Army knife are. Because this has all of the tool set that you would want in a big Swiss Army knife like this. And it also has the plus scales. If you know what those are, we'll talk about them a little bit more later, but it has extra tools in them like an ink pen. You don't find that on the run-of-the-mill Swiss Army knife. And it also has built in, comes standard, the push pin that's hidden in the plus scale. I'm not gonna worry about getting it out. And in the corkscrew, they included a mini flathead driver. So this obviously was patterned after somebody who knew what Swiss Army knife fans are looking for. And I wish this was still offered because I think it is a competitive alternative. And I don't know how much they paid for it because it was given to me as a gift. But to me, that's an interesting option for a large multi-tool. You're not going to want to carry something like that in your pocket. You're going to want to carry that in a sheath. And it came with a basic nylon sheath that you could carry it on a belt. It might be something good to throw in a camping bag. I've kept it kind of as a novelty, and because I don't think they're very common, I'm guessing there wasn't too many of them made. Maybe Victorinox caught wind and sued them about it. So the first multi-tool that I would say I ever bought was, the first generation Gerber plier multi-tool made in USA. And these had an advantage over the early Leathermans in that they were one-hand opening. You could deploy the pliers by just pushing the slide on the side, slide it open and closed with one hand. And so that was a real advantage over some of the Leatherman tools at the time. Nothing too fancy about it. Like the early Leathermans, all the tools are accessible only from the inside. So if you wanted to get a knife blade, you had to first deploy the pliers and then get the knife blade out, and you could close it to close the pliers to create kind of a locking. It came with a basic tool set, can opener, file, things that you would carry on a regular multi-tool, you would expect on those early. And that, about that as a teenager, it's been great for me, you know, for decades before I got back into knives. It was my one and only primary multi-tool. I'm kind of going in order, not necessarily of when I acquired them, but you know, just based on functionality. Here is a SOG. This is this called the Power Drive? I should have researched all their names before I came into this. This was an interesting option because it's got this gear drive system on it that does make for the pliers to feel like they have a nice smooth action. And one of the standout features of this is on the top, there's an opening that can be used as a bit driver. And this setup actually came with a set of bits. So if you're gonna carry this and the bits, you're gonna want a holster, but you can do that, and you can use either this top part for the bit, or it does have a folding implement in the handle. Sorry. The nice thing about these newer multi-tools like this one from SOG is that the tools are accessible from the outside. They kind of clump together, and so getting them out can be a little hard. But it does come with this kind of funny looking attachment here. And you can use it at a half stop like that, or at the full extension. And you can put this bit extension on it and then use any of these 1/4 inch bits on your pliers to be a driver. I wanted to like this more than I do. I bought it on sale just to test out. It has a few flaws in my opinion compared with the Leatherman. For one, the blade is tiny, made of cheap steel, and not very usable, I don't think. It's just kind of small for the size of the tool. And it has a serrated blade and a saw, but all of the implements feel kind of small. Get the blade out there. So there's the blade. Very thin, very small. If you're using it as a backup blade, probably not a problem. There's the file, also very thin, very small. Same with the other implements. I'm not going to get them all out. And then to release the blades, they are locking, which is a nice feature. Is you push back on this here and that releases the blade, or you can, I think, open another blade and that will also release it. There's the serrated blade. I wanted to like this more than I do. It's not made in the USA, and it doesn't feel as good of quality as what you get from the Leatherman tool. Also, some of the features that you get on Leatherman, like the replaceable wire cutters. These ones are not replaceable, so when they wear out, if you're unable to sharpen them, they're basically useless. So not as nice as the Leatherman, probably worth spending a little bit more money to get a Leatherman. Let's move on. I'm gonna be here all day. This is a Gerber, what do they call this? Power Drive. I'll put the names on the screen because I'm gonna have to look them up. Obviously, I've had these tools for a while and I don't remember the names of them. So this one is unique in that it doesn't have so much of a needle nose plier. I mean, you do have a pretty fine point the way they've done that there with it. I do like this tool. I probably like it more than the SOG. I like the pliers and I like this extension, this center drive extension on this Gerber. I think this is a competitive option for the Leatherman. I bought this on closeout at Walmart for 50 bucks. Normally they're closer to 100. And if you're spending 100, I would just say get a Leatherman, but for the price, it's not bad. It has some good implements. It has a much bigger file than the SOG with a scraper tip on it. And it has a much bigger blade and a serrated blade and a saw, I think. So that is a much better blade than what you get on the SOG. Um, the biggest drawback, or I guess the other neat thing that you get kind of stand out on this one is it does have some built-in bit storage, so you can carry 3 bits. You can carry so it's got a right now it's got a flathead, a small Phillips, and then a large Phillips in the center drive. So you can carry 3 bits. I think the drawback is it's not American made. It does have some plastic components like these bit holders here. I think it would have been better if they made those metal, and you could actually, and if they would have actually made that a little more solid where you could use it for some pounding or some hammering like some of the Leathermans. It just, again, it doesn't feel like good American made quality. It feels like a budget offering, but from Gerber, it is a good tool. Victorinox in the quality department, I think they're comparable to Leatherman on some of their tools. Now Leatherman's coming out with more premium things like the Arc, but as far as their run-of-the-mill Leatherman, I think Victorinox is very competitive. This is the Swiss tool. Thankfully, they put the name on it. The Spirit X I don't have, but I hear that one's a lot better. It's got kind of rounded, contoured handles, but this has a good set of pliers and feels very solid. It feels like a quality tool, unlike the Gerber and the SOG, and it feels like something that you could get some heavy use out of. It does have, you know, the popular Victorinox set of scissors in it. It's hard to beat Victorinox's scissors on a multi-tool like this. The Leatherman and Gerber and SOG scissors just don't compare. This one is locking as well, so you slide down on this to release the implement. So that's a nice feature to have that you don't get on some of the budget tools, but to have a locking feature, and it has a lot of standard features in it. This is a very solid multi-tool and a compelling option. Before I get to the last two, I just kind of want to touch on why does this guy have so many freaking multi-tools? And it's a convenience thing. Remember I said multi-tools are a convenience thing for me. So each of these multi-tools is housed in a different convenient location. Milwaukee in my truck tool bag. Ozark Trail in my camping bag. Gerber OG in my tackle box. I love having a one-handed set of pliers in there that I can use to squeeze sinkers or pull a line out of a hook out of a fish. SOG, I have that in my range bag when I go out to the shooting range. It's nice because it has the extra bits and gives you some capacity to work on your gun, firearms or things like that. The Gerber, this one is in my 72 hour go kit, my go bag. And then the Victorinox rides in my glove box, or as we say around here, jockey box in my car, my glove compartment. And then the other two, the two favorite ones, I rotate between carry. So I've got 2 Leathermans that I carry most frequently. I've got the free P2. Why didn't I get the P4? I didn't think I needed the saw all that often. So the extra implements that the P4 came with, I didn't think I needed. I do carry this one a lot. It's pretty slim, so I can fit it in a pocket. It has a good sized blade on it. And I like the one-handedness of it with the magnets. So you can open it, and it is a really handy, useful set of needle nose pliers. And it does have the removable wire cutters there. So you can take those out to sharpen them or replace them. It has a pocket clip on it, and I do slide it into my pocket sometimes, or I will carry it in the sheath. This is one that I take a lot when I'm traveling, and it's just It's just a really clean, well-built quality tool. One that I carry a lot since I've had it. This one is the Leatherman Titanium Surge. Is it the Surge or the Charge? It's the Charge. And this one is a little bit more premium because it has titanium handles and an S30V blade. So even before the Arc, you could get the titanium one of these with a more premium blade still. And I do like this one, the Charges and the Waves. A lot of the tools are accessible from the outside. And I like the Gerber is similar in that it has 4 big tools accessible from the outside. This one also has a serrated blade with a cord cutter or a belt cutter or gut hook, whatever you want to call it. And this one has a good set of pliers as well, although it is a little more, not as loose as the Free. So it's a little less one-handed for me. But I like this one, not just because it's premium, but because I like the big tools that are accessible from the outside, which you don't really get on the Free. The tools are accessible on the Free from the outside, but you don't have this this ease of accessibility on all 4 of the outside tools. You just have on this one, you have the knife blade and the scissors. But I don't think they come out quite as easy as they do on the Charge. And so those are the 2 that I will carry the most, and I'll rotate between them. I don't know if I have a favorite. It just kind of depends on what you do. Like Zach says when I watch his videos, carry what you need what you carry. So your mileage will vary depending on what your hobbies or your interests are. But those are the large multi-tools, what I would consider full-size or large multi-tools that I carry. I don't think I would get rid of any of them. I like them all. I may trade the Victorinox out for a Spirit X or the Ozark Trail one for an actual Swiss Army knife. But anyways, I keep them. They're part of my collection. If you want to stop, this is a good spot. You can come back to it later if you're so inclined. Now we'll talk about medium-sized multi-tools. What's the case for a medium-sized multi-tool? When I was first getting started, I wanted to be like MacGyver or James Bond and have like 900 tools on one device in my pocket at all times. And there may be a case for that. But I'm not a contractor. I don't work on job sites. I'm not a farmer. I'm not I don't work in a factory. So my use case for multi-tools is less than is probably what an average person needs. And so I don't necessarily need a pry bar or a reamer or a can opener on a daily basis, just kind of for those special things. So I kind of I think there's a case for people to just have a medium-sized multi-tool, and it's hard to beat Victorinox Swiss Army knife for those. I mean, there's a reason they're the most popular knives in the world. They sell more than pretty much every other knife combined because they do fit that genre. They're a great starter knife and whatnot. So they come in a good package, and these are kind of the medium-sized Swiss Army knives, a little bit bigger than the ones that fit on your keychain. Now, the drawback of these is they don't have pliers. I don't find in my daily life that I have that big of a need for pliers. And so with the small and medium-sized multi-tools, what I do find using a lot is the scissors. Now, these 2 models are basically the same. I think they're the Camp model or Camper. I'm not a pro on Victorinox names, but these have a scissor and a decent blade. Now, these are not made of the highest quality stainless steel, but they do have a decent heat treat on them, and they're easy to maintain, easy to sharpen for most people. And they usually have a secondary blade. These 2 models are exactly the same, but the fun thing about Swiss Army knives is they can come in different flavors, different colors. So if you're a camo guy and you like dropping your knife and getting it lost, then this would be a good one for you. Or if you like the bright blue, which is not a common color in nature and makes it easier to find. The only difference that I've got between these two is how I've set them up. So in the corkscrew, which you can use for an extra storage, on the blue one, I've got a Torx spit, a small Torx spit. And on the camo one, I've got a small flathead, kind of like an eyeglasses screwdriver. And I did that mainly because of matching purposes. When you buy those small corkscrew drivers, they come in a kit with different makes. A compelling, good option, easy to stick in your pocket, a little big for a keychain. You can get sheaths for these. In fact, I have sheaths on these for all of my Victorinox. This is kind of the more modern sheath, but they do have more vintage ones. So there is a case to be made for those. So you can carry them on a sheath, but they work great in a pocket or a pack as well. I do have an Alox version of the Pioneer X, and X is for scissors on Swiss Army knives. So it does come with the big set of Swiss Army knife scissors, which work great for paracord, paper, trimming, just about anything. This one is a little bit more dressy model because it has these aluminum handles instead of the plastic ones that Swiss Army knife usually comes with. And this one also has a little dressier sheath here. So I'll wear this one on a belt when I'm wearing my suit or whatever. The only thing it's missing with the Alox scales is it doesn't get the toothpick and tweezers, but I do really like that model. Here's a couple other Swiss Army knife models. Someone will have to tell me what model these are. I don't know. I really like this translucent reddish brown scales. I think this is an older Swiss Army knife. I got it secondhand. A little bit different than that last model we looked at. These ones do have a magnifying glass, and this has the older style of magnifying glass. So this is really a cool, kind of more vintage Swiss Army knife, but it has the scissors and the two knife blades and the can opener, bottle opener. This one in the corkscrew, I have a little pin that's for like resetting electronic devices or poking into things. The reason I put the pin corkscrew tool in this one is these are not plus scales, so they don't come with a little push pin. And then also because it was red and it matches the red scales better. But this is really a clean looking knife, and I like to carry this one just because of the look of it. So with Swiss Army knives, sometimes I'll carry them to match my loadout depending on the color. You know, if I'm wearing green that day or I got a green flashlight and a green pen, I might carry a green Swiss Army knife to match it up. This is the same model as that last one that I showed, except it's got the more modern magnifying glass, which can be used for all the things that magnifying glasses can be used for. I suppose it could be used to start a fire. I tried one time, but lost patience after a little bit. This one I did put the plus scales on it. Originally, it was just a red Swiss Army knife color, but I ordered some plus scales. So that gives me the ink pin and the push pin in addition to the toothpick and tweezers. And then also I added on on here the little Phillips head corkscrew drive. You can get fire ant fire tinder to go in there, which I will probably order at some point and add to some of my Swiss Army knives. So that's kind of it for medium-sized Swiss Army knives that I have. But there are a lot of other compelling options. I mentioned a newcomer into the field, and this was one of their earlier offerings, the Roxxon. I don't remember what this one model is. They were relatively inexpensive. I believe a Chinese-made multi-tool, but it does have a large spring-loaded pair of scissors. I can't talk. And so that makes it handy, as well as it's got a nice little tool set of locking tools. For a small, medium-sized tool like this, to have locking tools is pretty neat because the Swiss Army knife doesn't lock. Now you can see the blade is not much to write home about. It's a small kind of multi-purpose blade, looks like a drop point blade. And then to release it, it's got a glide that you slide back on there. This set does come with, ta-da, a toothpick and a pair of tweezers, metal tweezers, so nice. And then it does have a unique feature. It comes in a relatively ugly sheath, but utilitarian nylon sheath. And with that, you get a little bit set. And this one's kind of unique in that it takes this Phillips head slash cap lifter, and you add, yep, there it goes. And you add this little bit holder onto it, and it's got these small, I don't know, 2 millimeter bits. They're pretty tiny, so you can use those. So that is a lot of package in a small, medium-sized thing. And so this is, the case for medium is just gonna depend on your use case. Do you need a large set of pliers on a daily basis, or can you get by with a small tool? I mean, that's the main thing you're sacrificing by going to a smaller tool set, is the pair of pliers, but not always. You just basically have to make a choice between, do you need pliers or scissors, and what is going to be the most use for you. And on Swiss Army knives, to be honest, the scissors and the toothpick I use more than anything else. That's partly why I don't like the Alox model, because it doesn't have the toothpick in it. So it probably goes toothpick, scissors, and then knife blade. I don't use the knife blade as much because I usually am carrying more than one knife, and so the Swiss Army knife is kind of like a backup blade. Here's another model of Leatherman, medium sized. This one's discontinued, the Juice series. This is the Juice 6, so it packs a whole lot of punch into a small package. It is relatively thick. Let me grab one of those Swiss Army knives up here so you can see. It's not that much bigger than a Swiss Army knife, but it does feel thick, and it feels a little bit heavier because it's got aluminum scales instead of plastic. But this is a fun thing to carry. I bought this at an auction, and they're quite expensive nowadays because they're discontinued. It has a relatively long blade for the little size of package it is. A two-hand opening. It's got a nail nick in it, and it has a lot to offer. They made a Juice 4 and a Juice 2 that I know of that were other Leatherman Juice models. And so this is what I'm saying. You're not necessarily sacrificing the pliers, because this is a lot smaller than a full-size Leatherman, like the Free, but you still get a decent set of pliers with a wire stripper. So you can see it is quite a bit smaller than a Leatherman Free, but it still packs a pretty good punch. And so these are worth picking up if you can find them. It doesn't have the eyeglass screwdriver or the Leatherman bit holder like some of the newer Leatherman, but you do get a Phillips head driver, and it does have a lot of tools. I believe the 6 probably stands for 6 layers of tools. It's got an awl and a reamer, and it's got a file and a saw, and a pair of scissors, a good pair of scissors. So it packs a lot into a little punch. It's going to be a little bit heavier to carry than a Swiss Army knife. If you pick one of those lighter models, it's at least twice as much. So it's going to weigh your pocket down some. But it is a good option to not having a full-size Leatherman with a full-size set of pliers. Roxxon has a new series, a Flex series. They started out with a plier-based multi-tool, which I don't have, the Roxxon Flex. This is the smaller sized one, the Companion, and it comes with a one-hand opening D2 blade. Where Roxxon really innovates is the ability to swap out your implements. I think this is the future of multi-tools. I think you'll see other tools doing this. To do that, it's got this little locking bar here. So when the tool is extended, it is locked into place, and you slide that to unlock it. But to get it all the way open, you slide it all the way back and you hear it snap. And then that allows you to remove a tool from it. So I could take this beard comb out, which I don't use very often, and put one of the other implements in, and it comes with a whole bunch of implements. And actually you can buy other implements. It came with a couple spare, but here's an all reamer, or I've got them stored in this little Roxxon bag, but they're kind of hard to get out of there. So I've got a saw, a fire steel, a file, diamond file, and a measuring ruler with a flathead. So let's put the diamond file in there. So let's see if I can get this little container open. How do I do that? Okay. So I took the comb out, and now I'm going to put this little diamond file in. So I just take it, put it in like so, flip it around, and then unlock it. This allows you to truly customize your multi-tool. It also makes it nice for travel, because if you're not allowed to take a blade, you can take out the bladed implements. It does have a bit driver on the back that is non-swappable, but you could get extra bits to go in there to go with that. Another cool feature is one of the implements can be this feature, which holds a sewing needle, an ink pen, and a pair of tweezers. So if you like that ink pen feature on the Swiss Army Knife Plus scales, you can get that here with the needle. So it's a great kit. A lot of times what I'll use a small multi-tool like this for is grooming, personal grooming. The scissors work great for trimming nails or loose threads. For us guys, it also can help with your nose hair or your ear hair, or trimming beards. So I'll use a lot for that. Tweezers, the nail file, they can all be used for grooming. The last medium-sized multi-tool, and the one that is one of the most popular and is well-deserved, is the SOG Power Pint. Now, this shines above and beyond the large SOG that we looked at earlier, partly because of how much utility they've packed into this small tool. It does have a pair of pliers, as well as a bunch of locking implements. Not to mention this cool little, I don't know if that, Wharncliffe blade, maybe sheep's foot blade. And they lock by releasing this black plate on the inside. You can push that, or you can take out another tool to release it. It also has the bit holder feature in the top there. This is small enough to fit in a pocket or a fifth pocket. I also will carry it in this little Leatherman sheath that I bought, and there is room in here for me to put a pen and a flashlight as well. And so if I add a pen and a flashlight to this Power Pint, sometimes that's all I need to carry for the day. And this has that same gear-driven power drive system that you saw on the bigger SOG. It's just so smooth on this small one. And this honestly feels like better quality than the big one. I don't know how that's possible, but I've got it here in silver and black. I've had a whole bunch of these and given a lot away too. I just like the PowerPint. Now we're getting to the smallest set of multi-tools, and that's what would work for just about anybody. These would be referred to as keychain multi-tools because a lot of people will just carry them on their keychains. The first one I'll show you is not a keychain multi-tool. This one I believe is discontinued too. I really love this one. I keep it in a kit in my truck. This was the SOG Q1, and this is a pen multi-tool. They made a SOG Q2, Q3, and Q4, I think, and they were all different styles of multi-tools. The unique thing about this one is it does meet my definition of a multi-tool. Here you have a cap lifter plus a flathead screwdriver on the tip there. It is also a pen, and the neatest thing about it is it turns into a nice pair of scissors. And actually a really comfortable pair of scissors because you've got that long pen side there. Gives you plenty to grip with your hand. So this has been really handy, and it does have a pressurized ink cartridge. So it will, and it's kind of a bolt action style, although it doesn't have the twist bolt action. But it's a pressurized cartridge like a space pen, so you can write with it, and it doesn't take up much more space than a pen. So there you get a neat 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 features. Plus it's an aluminum pen, so you probably could use it for self-defense. So 4 to 5 features in a package, not much bigger than a standard pen. And I really like that one. Gerber makes a lot of little multi-tools. This is a newer model called the Vice. It has a little bit different blade shape than the Dime that a lot of people are familiar with. And this one, the main implement on it is a pair of spring-loaded pliers. So you can get pliers in a small multi-tool. What you're sometimes sacrificing, like I said, is choosing between pliers or a good pair of scissors. But you may not need the scissors because you have a blade on most of these small keychain tools. I don't love this tool. I think they retail for around $20. I got this one at Walmart. It's fine. It's a little rough around the edges, so you feel that. Here's a couple of small SOG multi-tools. These, I believe, are both discontinued. So this is the SOG Crosscut. It's very comparable to a Leatherman Micra. It has kind of that same gear drive system that you see on the other SOGs. This one works like a Leatherman Micra, which also has a primary tool of a pair of scissors. This one has a decent set of scissors as well as some implements that can be accessed from the inside. It's actually a pretty cool little tool, pretty small package, a little bit rough up on the edges there. So if you're carrying it around on a keychain or in a pocket, prepare to get poked a little bit. But it is a cool option. This one is a little bit more interesting. I forget what these ones are called, but they're a full-on pair of scissors. So you open it up and it's actually got scissors. It's not spring-loaded, but it's got kind of like scissor handles that go over the outside and you can snip with it. That might be what it's called, the snip. But I believe these models are both discontinued. An interesting little option. They both have pocket clips on them, both have blades and several other implements that you would expect on these small multi-tools, usually a flathead driver or some kind of a pry bar. Cool little options from SOG, I think competitive with some of the smaller options from Leatherman, and I'm not sure what they've introduced to replace it. This next one, I cannot remember the name. This is starts with an L, a Ryuk. I'm not sure. I just forgot the name of it. this is designed to compete with small Swiss Army knives. Yep, no, I'm not saying it right. Ruike, Ryuki. The cool thing about this, on Swiss Army knives, you're getting a very standard stainless steel, not high premium. This has got 12C27 stainless steel. So Sandvik 12C27 steel. So definitely a step up on the blade. And it is a hollow ground blade. So it's very slicey, very small, and you get 3 implements. So it barely meets my definition, but you get a pair of scissors, spring-loaded scissors there. And you get this tool, which is kind of a combination tool. It's a cap lifter, flathead driver, and a cord cutter. So a lot packed into there. G10 scales. This is a nice upgrade from a Swiss Army knife if you're wanting to carry a small keychain knife with a better blade than a Swiss Army knife. But the Swiss Army knife does make some small keychain knives. You can see these are quite a bit smaller than the 58 millimeter Swiss Army knives. These are the size of the Classic and the Rambler that we'll see in a minute. This one's the nail clip version from Swiss Army knife, and what makes it unique is it has all the same implements as a Swiss Army Classic: toothpick, tweezers, small blade, file, pair of scissors, but it also has the Victorinox nail clippers, which if you've never used Victorinox nail clippers, they are pretty dang good. I have a set of standalone Victorinox nail clippers, but here comes one on a keychain pocket knife. It's relatively thick. Here you can see it compared to the Classic. So it's gonna take up a little bit more space in your pocket or on your keychain, but it might be worth it to you for those clippers, especially if you're using a small knife like this for grooming. Nail clippers, as you know, are also very helpful when you're out fishing for cutting fishing line and things like that. I thought I would use this a lot more. I don't. I tend to not have it with me that much, and so I'll use a regular Swiss Army knife for grooming. The Swiss Army Classic, hard to beat. It's just a simple knife, toothpick, tweezers, a pair of scissors, a blade, and a file. It's a very compelling option for a keychain knife. It's relatively inexpensive. When I bought this one, it was only $16. Now they're up to $20, $25. Dang inflation. But they come in a whole bunch of different flavors and colors, make great gifts, and they're a great keychain knife. Now, Swiss Tech obviously has been inspired by the Swiss Army Classic, and they've released their own version of it, which does have a toothpick and tweezer. Now, this has some pros and some cons over the Swiss Army knife. It does have a blade. I do like the nail nick on this one a little bit more. It's kind of a cool profile. And the nice thing about this one compared to the Swiss Army Classic is the blade opens away from the keychain holder. Makes it a little bit easier to use because you can keep your keys in your hand and use the knife like this, whereas the Classic blade opens on the same side as the key holder. It also comes with a file slash flathead screwdriver and a pair of scissors. So the trade-off now is that the scissors open on the same side as the keys. So to use them, you have to have the keys in your hand, in your fist. These scissors are not quite as good as Swiss Army knife, and I would say the same about the toothpick and the tweezers. But again, it's half the cost. So these were at Walmart for I think around $11 or $12. And it does give you a more modern look than that red Swiss Army knife because it's got gray G10 on it. I think these were called the Listig. Swiss Tech has interesting names for their knives, Werdig, and I think that one was called the Listig. So here is the Gerber Dime, kind of another ubiquitous pocket tool. This one comes with a small set of pliers. There are things that I like about the Gerber dime. In fact, one of my early videos, I think I rated this higher than the Leatherman, Micra. I don't know that I would do so today. I don't carry this very often. It does have a good set of tools for the size that it is, and I really like that cap lifter. I'm not a big drinker, but if I was doing a lot of cap lifting, that would be a good thing for me. And then I kind of like this blade profile that they have on this dime. It's kind of a clip point sheep's foot. It's probably a reverse Tonto, honestly, but I do like that. I think this is a compelling option for a small spring-loaded plier set. I just find that I'm not using small pliers all that often in my day-to-day life. Leatherman Micra, I've mentioned it several times. We're almost to the end. Thank you for hanging in there. The Leatherman Micra, this silver one is an older version. You can see the toothpicks are exposed on it, but what they both have in common is their primary tool is not plier-based, but scissor-based. Kind of like those SOG crosscut we looked at. These are USA made tools. Well, this newer green one doesn't say USA on it, but this older silver one does say that USA on it. And it has a nice set of tools. These are great for a fifth pocket or a keychain. When I say fifth pocket, I mean your jean pocket that can hold your change. It's a very good option, especially if you find yourself snipping stuff a lot. If you're a fisherman, like working with paracord, doing those kind of things. The scissors will dull on there. I know from snipping a lot of paracord that they will dull. The last but not least of the small multi-tools is the one I carry every day, and I would be happy if it was my only keychain multi-tool. It's the Swiss Army Rambler. It is exactly like the Classic, but with two upgrades. One, the blade opens away from the keyhole. So like we talked about, that makes it more convenient because your keys can hang down here. It gives you an extra grip on it because it is a very small knife. The other upgrade is it has an extra implement in it. And this is what makes the difference. So this has a Phillips head, cap lifter, and wire stripper combo tool. Very, very nice to have that Phillips head that you don't get on the Swiss Army Classic. This is not my Classic that I carry. This is one I bought for my son. Mine I carry every day, but I loaned it to someone the other day and they pocketed it. So I haven't got it back from them yet. But it is a very capable knife. So how many multi-tools do you need? It depends. Most people could get by with that Swiss Army knife Rambler or a Gerber dime or a Leatherman Micra on their keychain, and it would give them all the capability they need to open packages, do small tasks, snipping, trimming, tweezing. So I don't think you need more than that for your everyday life, but sometimes you do. And so I will take a medium, depending on what I'm doing for the day, I'll take a medium-sized multi-tool with me, either in my pocket or on my belt. And then a lot of times if I'm outdoors or actually doing yard work or a project around the house, I will strap on a full-size Leatherman. But for me, it's a convenience thing. So I will stash these multi-tools where they're convenient. In my car, in my go bag, in my camping bag, in my tackle box, in my tool bag, so that I always have one close by. And then I don't have to carry a full size or even a medium size multi-tool because I always have one nearby. The only one I keep on me is usually generally a small multi-tool, Leatherman Micra or a Swiss Army Rambler or some other Swiss Army knife. Well, that's a lot of information, but now you've seen my multi-tool collection, which was fun to show it to you. It's been so long since I posted videos, I can't even remember what jokes I've told. How about a couple mermaid jokes though? What do mermaids use to wash their fins? Tide. What did the ocean say to the beach? Nothing. It just waved. And lastly, why do mermaids wear seashells? Because B shells are too small and D shells are too big.